I mostly read public domain books here on Glenn Reads Books to You, and they were written a long time ago, so they're usually racist, or sexist, or bigoted, but in there somewhere is a story, and that's why those stories are famous. Other times, I read works from independent authors, and they're delightfully not racist, but they might have adult language or adult situations, like, making sex. So that's your warning, but I'm sure you're grown up enough to handle it. Don't write to me complaining. Well, now that I finally got Plex all figured out, I can watch Project Hail Mary. Oh, son of a... All right, take a seat, you little idiot. I was just talking about how I'm getting tired of renting or streaming services and whatever. So I moved over to Plex. That's my life now. That's all I ever do is sit there and tweak that over and over again, constantly working Plex. Got my cousin in on it. We share stuff over Plex and Plex. Welcome to the Glenn Reads Gothic Books to You mansion. It's a fun little bit where I pretend to live in a mansion and not just recording in my basement. This is where I read the hottest public domain books and short stories. We're gonna continue to read Jane Eyre, an autobiography. I'm not even halfway through it yet. You want to learn a little bit about the author? I hope so. I stole this from Wikipedia. Charlotte Brontë was born April 21st, 1816, and died March 31st, 1855, at the age 38 from drinking water that passed over the bodies and torsos of corpses. Was an English novelist and poet, and was the elder sister of Emily Anne and Branwell Brontë. I'm out of Charlotte Brontë facts and Jane Eyre facts, so I'm moving on to horror story facts because I got nothing else to do. So you want to hear some fun horror story writing facts I stole from mybookcave.com? Sure you do. The smell of rot helps me write. Friedrich von Schiller, a famous German poet, kept rotten apples in his desk, and he claimed that he needed the scent of the decay to help him write. I can't write if I'm dead. Noel Coward, English playwright, composer, director, and more, claimed that he began every day by checking the obituary column of the Times. If he wasn't listed there, he could get down to work. Is that really honestly what he did for real? That's just a lie. He didn't wake up in the morning like, oh, God, I got to go through this routine again. Okay, my name's not in there, obviously. Okay, I guess I got to work. Weird. Acting to the grave. Jean-Baptiste Poquelin, known by his stage name as Molière, died after collapsing on stage while acting in one of his own plays. Ironically, he's playing the role of the hypochondriac. It's not ironically, he died for real. Do you not know what ironic... Chasing the neighbors with an axe. J.R. Tolkien was known to dress up as an axe-wielding Anglo-Saxon warrior and chase his astonished neighbor down the street. He was great friends with C.S. Lewis and had a similar sense of humor. So they both were scary, violent people that wrote children's books? Making love on her mother's grave. Allegedly, Mary Shelley, author of Frankenstein, lost her virginity to her future husband, Percy Shelley, on her own mother's grave. Gross. Young Mary is also said to have learned how to spell her name by tracing the letters on her mother's. Also named Mary's headstone. Oh, thank God for the grandfather clock telling me to shut up and read the story. This was horrible, and I hope I never have to do that again. Why don't we go downstairs and dive into this book? Well, there you go. Why don't you get yourself settled? Go on, sit in that chair. If you don't mind, I think I'd like some tea. Do you want some tea? Let's get some. I still have the cat butlers from Merry Maids, so why don't we call them in right now? Now, here he comes. It's really taking a sweet time. Would you like some tea, please? Could you bring us some... Oh, he's still got the gun. He's still got the gun. All right. Why don't you go back and get us some tea and bring it out so we can read this story? Well, there he goes, little scamp. We'll just wait here for a second. My throat is a little dry, and I don't really want to get into it. Oh, coming back already. Well, aren't you a little gentleman? Just put that down right there. Oh, God. Okay, can you pour me a cup? Yeah, that's what I pay you for. There you go. Thank you. That's what I... Okay. Oh, Lord. Love a cat that takes pride in his job. You can go. Thank you. You can leave now. I've got to read the story. Oh, thank God. I still have them for another week, so trying to get the most out of my money with them. Why don't we get into this chapter? Chapter 18. Merry days were these at Thornfield Hall. And busy days, too. Oh, how different from the first 3 months of stillness, monotony, and solitude I had passed beneath its roof. All sad feelings now seemed driven from the house. All gloomy associations, forgotten. There was life everywhere. Movement. All day long. Oh, you could not now traverse the gallery, once so hushed, nor enter the front chambers, once so tenantless, without encountering a smart lady's maid or a dandy valet. No, the kitchen, the butler's pantry, the servants' hall, the entrance hall were all equally alive, and the saloons were only left void and still when the blue sky and the halcyon sunshine of the genial spring weather called their occupants out into the grounds. Even when that weather was broken and continuous rain set in for some days, no damp seemed cast over our enjoyment. Indoor amusements only became more lively and varied in consequence of the stop-put to outdoor gaiety. I wondered what they were going to do the first evening of change of entertainment was proposed. They spoke of, quote, playing charades, unquote. But in my ignorance, I did not understand the term. The servants were called in, the dining room tables wheeled away, and the lights otherwise disposed. The chairs placed in a semicircle opposite the arch. Whoa, well, Mr. Rochester and the other gentlemen directed these alterations. The ladies were running up and down the stairs, ringing for their maids. Mrs. Fairfax was summoned to give information respecting the resources of the house in shawls, dresses, draperies of any kind, and certain wardrobes of the third story were ransacked, and their contents, in the shape of brocade and hoop petticoats, satin sacks, black modes, lace lappets, etc., were brought down in armfuls by the Abigails. Then a selection was made. Oh, and such things were chosen that were carried to the boudoir within the drawing room. Meantime, Mr. Rochester had again summoned the ladies round him and was selecting certain of their number to be of his party. Miss Ingram is mine, of course, said he. Afterwards, he named the two Mrs. Eshton and Mrs. Dent, and he looked at me. I happened to be near him, as I had been fastening the clasp of Mrs. Dent's bracelet, which had gone loose. "Will you play?" he asked. I shook my head. He did not insist, which I rather feared he would have done. He allowed me to return quietly to my usual seat. He and his aides now withdrew behind the curtain. The other party, which was headed by Colonel Dent, sat down on the crescent of the chairs. One of the gentlemen, Mr. Ashton, observed me, seemed to propose that I should be asked to join them, but Lady Ingram instantly negated the notion. "No," I heard her say, "she looks too stupid for any game of this sort." Ere long the bell tinkled, and she just brushed that off. Yeah, I guess I look too stupid. Ere long the bell tinkled, and the curtain drew up. Within the arch, the bulky figure of Sir George Lynn, whom Mr. Rochester had likewise chosen, had seen enveloped in a white sheet. Before him, on a table, lay open a large book. Oh, it's going to get pagan. And at his side stood Amy Ashton, with their breasts out, prepared to do a sacrifice, draped in Mr. Rochester's cloak, and holding a book in her hand. Oh boy, somebody unseen rang the bell merrily. Then Adele, who had insisted on being one of the guardian's party, bounded forward, scattering round the contents of the basket the flowers she carried in her arm, and then she appeared, the magnificent figure of Miss Ingram, clad in white, a long veil on her head. This is sounding super like some sort of ritual is about to happen, and a wreath of roses round her brow. Yep, and by her side walked Mr. Rochester, and together they drew near the table. They produced a sacrificial knife. They had, underneath the cloak, a baby. And I'm joking. None of this is actually in the story. They knelt while Mrs. Dent and Louisa Eshton, dressed also in white, took up their stations behind them. A ceremony followed. In dumb show in which it was easy to recognize the pantomime of a marriage to Satan. At its termination, Colonel Dent and his party consulted in whispers for 2 minutes. Then Colonel called out, "Bride!" Mr. Rochester bowed, and the curtain fell. I don't get what's happening here. This isn't charades. A considerable interval elapsed before again rose. There's going to be like a weird orgy thing. Its second rising displayed more elaborately prepared the scene from the last. The drawing room, as I had before observed, has raised 2 steps above the dining room, and on the top of the upper step, placed a yard or 2 of black within the room, appeared a large marble basin, which I recognized as an ornament of the conservatory, where it usually stood, surrounded by exotics, and tended by goldfish, and whence it must have been transported on some trouble on account of its size and weight. Seated on the carpet by the side of the basin was seen Mr. Rochester, consumed in shawls, with a turban on his head. This is starting to get a little racist. His dark eyes and swarthy skin, and panem features. What's a panem feature? I know what a panem feature is. I'm very aware of that word, but I will tell you, the reader that's not familiar, that is a non-Christian, especially Muslim. Oh, God, this is getting bad. Suited the costume exactly. He looked the very model of an Eastern emir. Is an agent or a victim of the bowstring. Presently advanced into view Miss Ingram. She, too, was attired in Oriental fashion, a crimson scarf tied sash-like around the waist, an embroidered handkerchief knotted around her temples, her beautifully molded arms bare. One of them upraised in the act of supporting a pitcher, poised gracefully on her head. Both her cast of form and feature, her complexion and her general air suggested the idea of some Israelitish princess of the patriarchal days. And such was doubtless the character she intended to represent. Well, she approached the basin and bent over as if to fill her pitcher. She again lifted it to her head, and the personage of the well brink now seemed to accost her to make some request. She hasted, let down her pitcher from her hand, and gave him to drink. From the bosom of the robe he then produced a casket, opened it, and showed her magnificent bracelets and earrings. Oh, she acted in astonishment and admiration. Kneeling, he laid the treasure at her feet. Incredulously and delight were expressed by her looks and gestures. The stranger fashioned the bracelets on her arms and the rings in her ears. Oh, it was Eliza and Rebecca. The camels only were wanting. The divine party again laid their heads together. Apparently they could not agree about the word or the syllable of the scene. What illustrated? Colonel Dent, their spokesman, demanded the tableau of the whole, whereupon the curtain again descended. Is this how they play this game? Where they literally dress up and act out stuff instead of just saying like 3 syllables by holding up 3 fingers and then first syllable? Oh, weird. On its third rising, only a portion of the drawing room was disclosed, the rest being concealed by a screen, hung with some sort of dark and coarse drapestry. Drapestry? I don't know why I said it like that. It's drapery. The marble basin was removed, and in its place stood a deal table and a kitchen chair. These objects were visible by a very dim light proceeding from the horn lantern, the wax candles being all extinguished. Amid the sordid scene sat a man with his clenched hands resting on his knees, and his eyes bent on the ground. And I knew Mr. Rochester through the begrimed face, the disordered dress, his coat hanging loose from one arm as if it had been almost torn from his back in a scuffle, the desperate and scowling countenance, the rough, bristling hair might well have disguised him as he moved. A chain clanked. To his wrists were attached fetters. "Bridewell!" exclaimed Colonel Dent, and the charade was solved. That's what they go through? Oh, my God. This proto-party games, if you don't have the right costume, and other gear like chains on your arms that no one's ever going to figure it out. A sufficient interval having what kind of like, do they just have an entire like attic full of costumes that they got to get ready? I'm going to let it go. A sufficient interval having elapsed for the performers to resume their ordinary costume. They re-entered the dining room. Mr. Rochester led in Miss Ingram. She was complimenting him on his acting. Do you know, said she, that of the three characters I liked you the least best? Oh, you had but lived a few years earlier. I don't know why I'm doing this voice. What a gallant gentleman highwayman you would have made. It is all the soot washed from my face, he asked. Oh my God, they did blackface. I figured it was, but they didn't really say it specifically. But now we know they did blackface. Cool. Alas, yes. The more's the pity. Nothing could be more becoming of your complexion than that of a ruffian's rouge. Then would you like a hero of the road then? Oh, an English hero of the road would be the next best thing to an Italian bandit, and that could only be surpassed by the Levantine pirate. Well, whatever I am, remember that you are my wife, and we are married an hour since, in the presence of all these witnesses. Oh, she giggled, and her color rose. I bet she did. Oh, she's excited. Now, Dent, continued Mr. Rochester. Oh, Rochester, it's your turn. And as the other party withdrew, he and his band took the vacated seats. Miss Ingram placed herself at her leader's right hand, and the other diviners, whatever, filled the chairs on each side of him and her. I did not now watch the actors. I no longer waited with interest for the curtain to rise. My attention was absorbed by the spectators. My eyes, erewhile fixed on the arch, were now irresistibly attracted to the semicircle of chairs. What charade Colonel Dent and his party played? What word they chose? Oh, how they acquitted themselves. I no longer remember. But I still see the consultation which I followed. You see, I see Mr. Rochester turn to Miss Ingram, and Miss Ingram to him. Oh, I see her incline her head towards him. She's probably got a big forehead, real big forehead, like getting real close to his from 3 feet away, till the jetty curls almost touch his shoulder and wave against his cheek. I hear their mutual whisperings. I recall their interchanged glances, and something even of the feeling roused by the spectacle returns in memory at this moment. I have told you, reader, talking to us now, that I have learnt to love Mr. Rochester. I could not unlove him now, merely because I found that he had ceased to notice me, because I might pass hours in his presence, and he would never once turn his eyes in my direction, because I saw all his attentions appropriated by a great lady, who scorned to touch me with the hem of her robes as she passed, who, if ever her dark and imperious eye fell upon me by chance, would withdraw it instantly, as from an object too mean to merit observation. I could not unlove him, because I felt sure that he would soon marry this very lady. Because I read daily in her a proud security in his intentions respecting her, because I witnessed hourly in the style of courtship, which, if careless, choosing rather to be sought by the seek, was yet in a very carelessness, captivating, and its very pride irresistible. And there was nothing to cool or banish the love of these circumstances. Though much to create despair, much too, you will think, reader, still talking to you, to engender jealousy. If a woman in my position could presume to be jealous of a woman, Miss Ingram's, but I was not jealous, or very rarely. The nature of the pain I suffered could not be explained by that word. Miss Ingram was a mark beneath jealousy. She was too inferior to excite the feeling. Pardon the seeming paradox. I mean what I say. She was very showy, but she was not genuine. Oh, yeah. Oh, she is a fine person. Many brilliant attainments, but her mind is poor, and her heart barren by nature. Nothing blooms spontaneously on that soil. Oh, no unforced natural fruit, delighted by its freshness. She was not good. She was not original. She used to repeat sounding phrases from books. She never offered nor had an opinion of her own. She advocated a high tone of sentiment, but she did not know the sensations of sympathy and pity. What's that? What's that? She's basically just an empty vessel. She's just a dumb person. No, she's Well, she could be angry. She's probably jealous and angry. No, yeah, she's definitely probably jealous and angry. And so she just might hate this lady. But also she just might be like an empty vessel shit person. She might be a shit person. Can I go back to the story now? I don't like it when you interject with questions. I don't want you to care about this book. All right. Tenderness and truth were not in her. Too often she betrayed this, but the undue vent she gave a spiteful antipathy she had conceived against little Adele. Pushing her away with some contumelious. I don't know. I do know what that word means. I'm gonna tell you what it means. It's contumelious. It's an adjective of behavior, scornful, insulting. It's a word, epithet, if she happened to approach her, sometimes ordering her from the room and always treating her with coldness and acrimony. Oh, other eyes besides mine watch these manifestations of character. Watch them closely, keenly, shrewdly. Yes, the future bridegroom, Mr. Rochester himself, exercised over his attendant a ceaseless surveillance, and it was from this sagacity, I can say it, this guardedness of his, this perfect, clear consciousness of this fair one's defects, this obvious absence of passion in his sentiments towards her, that my ever-torturing pain arose. I saw he was going to marry her, for family, perhaps political reasons, because her rank and connection suited him, and I felt he had not given her his love, and that her qualifications were ill-adapted to win from him that treasure. This was the point. This is where the nerve was touched and teased. This is where the fever was not sustained and fed. How she could not charm him, in italics, if she had managed the victory at once, and he had yielded and sincerely laid his heart at her feet. I should have covered my face. Oh, I would have turned to the wall. And, parentheses figuratively, had died to them. If Miss Ingram had been a good and noble woman, endowed with force, fervor, kindness, and sense, I should have had one vital struggle with two tigers, jealousy and despair. Then my heart torn out and devoured. Oh, I should have admired her, acknowledged her excellence, had been quiet for the rest of my days, and the more absolute her superiority, the deeper would have been my admiration. What kind of life is that? And the more truly tranquil my quiescence. Honestly, you're just more rich than me. You're prettier than me. I bowed down to you. Who does that? But as matters really stood, to watch Miss Ingram's efforts at fascinating Mr. Rochester, to witness their repeated failure, herself unconscious that they did fail, vainly fancying that each shaft launched hit the mark, and infatuatedly plummeting herself on success, when her pride and self-complacency repelled further and further what she wished to allure, to witness this was to be at once under ceaseless excitation and ruthless restraint. Because when she failed, I saw how she might have succeeded. Arrows that continually glanced off from Mr. Rochester's breast and fell harmless at his feet, might, I knew, if shot by the sure hand, have quivered keen in his proud heart. This is a very long sentence without a period. Have called love into his stern eye and softness into his sardonic face, semicolon. Or, better still, without weapons, a silent conquest might have been won. End of sentence. Why can she not influence him more when she is privileged to draw him so near to him? Now I ask myself, surely she cannot truly like him, or not like him with true affection, exclamation point. If she did, she need not coin her smiles so lavishly, flash her glances so unremittingly, manufacture airs so, elaborate. Graces so multitudinous. Oh, I love that word. That's my favorite word. It seems to me that she might, by merely sitting quietly at his side, saying little and looking less, get nigher his heart. I have seen in his face a far different expression, his big face, big forehead, long nose, full lips, face, different expression from that which hardens it now while she is so vivaciously accosting him. But then it came of itself. Oh, it was not elicited by a meticulous arts, not looking it up, and calculated maneuvers. And the one had but to accept it, to answer what he had asked without pretension, to address him when needful without grimace. Without grimace. And it increased and grew kind. I think of like the little purple guy from McDonald's back in the 70s and 80s. And it increased and grew kinder and more genial, and warmed like one fostering sunbeam. Needful without grimace. I just think of him like, oh, God, I'm so needful. And then grimace shows up. It's going to be okay, buddy. It's going to be okay. Have a hamburger. I don't know why I can't let this go. I'm going to try and move on. How will she manage to please him when they are married? ? I do not think that she will manage it, . And yet, it might be managed, . And his wife might, I verily believe, be the very happiest woman in the sun shines on, period, . Oh, that's a quote? Oh, that's her thoughts. I'm ready to move on. I'm plowing through this right now. We should probably order... Ooh, man, are you hungry? You know, after the break, we should get sausages. Let's get one of the cats to make us sausages. Yeah, like little morning sausages. Oh, that'd be delicious. I could definitely do that right now. I have not yet said anything condemnatory to Mr. Rochester's project of marrying for interest and connections. It surprised me when I first discovered that such was his intention. I had thought him a man, unlikely to be influenced by motives so commonplace in his choice of a wife, but the longer I consider the position, education, etc. of the parties, and less I felt justified in judging and blaming either him or Miss Ingram for acting in conformity to ideas and principles instilled into them, doubtless from their childhood. Another really long sentence. All their class held these principles. I suppose, then, they had reasons for holding them, such as I could not fathom. It seemed to me that, were I a gentleman like him, I would take to my bosom. I'm getting really hungry. I could totally go for those sausages. Only such a wife that I could love. But the very obviousness of the advantages to the husband's own happiness offered by this plan convinced me that there must be arguments against its general adoption, which I was quite ignorant. I still have a cold. Otherwise, I felt sure all the world would act as I wished to act. Okay, well, with that, why don't we go down to the basement where you slept last week? Hopefully you didn't leave a lot of shit down there. Hopefully the cats cleaned it up, and we can learn about the latest upcoming books from Penguin Random House. I'll see you down there. Oh, there you are. And this basement looks like horse shit. Either you are a trash person or the cats are really bad at cleaning up. I can't really tell. You left a bunch of cans of soda on the floor. I can see a bag of Triscuits. A whole bag of Triscuits just laying there. What kind of person eats Triscuits? A person that uses a CPAP at your age. Well, I'm here to tell you about the latest upcoming book from Penguin Random House while I stand underneath this naked light bulb playing my guitar for you, and you stand underneath that naked light bulb just letting me read to you. The newest book, Arcana Academy by Elise Kova. It's paperback for $20. The book description, quote, magical from nail-biting beginning to shocking end. Danielle L. Jensen, #1 New York Times bestselling author of A Fate Inked in Blood. I don't need to talk about New York Times bestselling authors. They basically pick a genre that doesn't exist, like magical cat genre books, and then they write it, and then they wind up being the #1 best-selling author of that genre because they get one person bought it and it doesn't exist. A woman who wields magical tarot cards lands herself in a false engagement with the headmaster of a mysterious academy in his first installment of an enthralling fantasy romance series for the best-selling author of A Deal with the Elf King. So it's just kind of like Hogwarts, but with tarot cards. Clara Greysword has survived the underworld of Eclipse City through thievery, luck, a whole lot of illegal magic. After a job gone awry, Clara is sentenced to a lifetime in prison for inking tarot cards, a rare power reserved for practitioners at the Elite Arcana Academy. Is it really that rare? You can just kind of buy them anywhere. You can get them anywhere. Literally any bookstore. Just when it seems her luck has run dry, the Academy's enigmatic headmaster, Prince Caelus, offers her an escape for a price. Caelus believes that Clara is the perfect tool to help him steal a tarot card from the king and use it to recreate an all-powerful card long lost time. A special tarot card? In order to conceal her identity and keep her close, Caelus brings Clara to Arcana Academy, introducing her as the newest first-year student and his bride-to-be. Oh, this is kind of like if Harry Potter also was got a little something on the side while he's going to school. Thrust into a world of arcane magic and royal intrigue, where one misstep will send her back to a prison or worse, Clara finds that the prince she swore to hate may not be what he seems. But can she risk giving him power over the world and her heart? Or will she take it for herself? So that's book one of the Arcana Academy series by Elise Kova. It's paperback for $20. Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, Bookshop, Theodore, Hudson, Booksellers, Powell's, Target, Walmart. Available on May 19th. Well, at least it's paperback. That's nice. I'm going to be honest with you. I spent this entire time just thinking about how I just want some sausages. Me and my family like to call them morning snausages, kind of like the dog treat, but they're not dog treats. They're actually just normal sausages. It's a fun little thing we like to say. Why don't we go upstairs and ask one of the cats to make us some snausages? That'd be kind of fun. I'll see you up there. Oh man, I'm going to be honest with you. I've got snausages on the brain. I'm having a great time with this joke. I want to order sausages right now. So why don't we just read this up? Here we go. Yep. Oh, here he comes. Here he comes. I wonder, good man, if you could possibly... Oh, still got the gun. you little scamp. You're a lot of fun. We want to order sausages, so why don't you leave and come back and bring us some beautiful hot sausages, or make them in front of us. Oh, there he goes. Okay, well, he was tired of hearing me talking. Well, I guess we should get back into the story. Okay, let's see where we left off. Here we go. But in other points, as well as this, I was growing very lenient to my master. I was forgetting all his faults, for which I had once kept a sharp lookout. I had formerly been my endeavor to study all sides of his character, to take the bad with the good. And from the just weighing of both to form an equitable judgment. But now I saw no bad. The sarcasm that had repelled, the harshness that had startled me once. There had only been like keen condiments in a choice dish. Oh, their presence was pungent. Oh, but their absence would be as felt as comparatively insipid. But as for the vague something, was it a sinister or sorrowful, a designing or desponding expression that opened upon a clever observer, now and then in his eye, and closed again before one could fathom the strange depth partially disclosed? That something which used to make me fear and shrink, as if I had been wandering amongst volcanic-looking hills, and had suddenly felt the ground quiver, and seen it agape. That's something I, at intervals, beheld still. What's that? No, I don't know what she's talking about either. He's got to plow through it. It'll make sense later, I'm sure. And with throbbing heart, but not with palisade nerves, instead of wishing to shun, I longed only to dare to divine it. And I thought Miss Ingram happy, because one day she might look into the abyss at her leisure, explore its secrets, and analyze their nature. Meantime, while I thought only of my master and his future bride, saw only them, heard only their discourse, and considered only their movements of importance, and the rest of the party were occupied with their own separate interests and pleasures, the ladies Lynn and Ingram continued to consort in solemn conferences, where they nodded their two turbans at each other, and held up their four hands in confronting gestures of surprise, or mystery, or horror, according to the theme in which their gossip ran, like a pair of magnified puppets. Mild Miss Dent talked with good-natured Miss Eshton, and the two sometimes bestowed a courteous word or smile on me. Sir George Lynn, Colonel Dent, and Mr. Eshton discussed politics, or country affairs, or justice business. What's that? I don't know what justice business is. Just like crime, maybe? Lord Ingram flirted with Amy Eshton. Louisa played and sang, and with one of the ministers. Lynn and Mary Ingram listened languidly to the gallant speeches of the other. Sometimes all, as with one consent, suspended their byplay to observe and listen to the principal actors. For, after all, Mr. Rochester, and because... Oh, I said it weird. Mr. Rochester, and because closely connected with him, Miss Ingram were the life and soul of the party. If he was absent from the room an hour, a perceptible dullness seemed to steal over the spirits of his guests, and his re-entrance was sure to give a fresh impulse of vivacity of conversation. The want of this animating influence appeared to be particularly felt one day that he had been summoned to Millicote on business, and was not likely to return till late. The afternoon was wet. A walk to the party had been proposed to take to see a camp. A camp with Romane people, lately pitched on a common beyond Hay. Was consequently deferred. Some of the gentlemen were gone to the stables. The younger ones, together with the younger ladies, were playing billiards. In the billiard room. The dowagers, Ingram and Lynn, sought solace in a quiet game at cards. Blanche Ingram, after having been repelled by supercilious tonicity. What's that? I'm not going to tell you what that word means. Some efforts of Mrs. Dent and Mrs. Eshton to draw her into conversation had first murmured over some sentimental tunes and airs on the piano, and then, having fetched a novel from the library, had flung herself haughtily, listlessness, on a sofa, and prepared to beguile, by the spell of fiction, the tedious hours of absence. The room and the house were silent. Now, only now, and then the merriment of the billiard players was heard from above. Well, it was verging on dusk, and the clock had already given warning of the hour to dress for dinner. They dressed for dinner. Oh, Lord. When, I guess you're just bored. You're just home all the time. When little Adele, who knelt by me in the drawing room window seat, suddenly exclaimed, "Voila, Monsieur Rochester qui revient." I returned, and Miss Ingram darted forwards from her sofa, and the others, too, looked up from their several occupations for a time. Crunching of the wheels and a splashing tramp of the horse hooves came burp, audible on the wet gravel. A post-chaise was approaching. "Oh! What could possess him to come home in that style?" said Miss Ingram. "He rode Monsieur, the black horse. He did he not, when he went out, and Pilot was with him? What has he done with the animals?" What, is he pulling the cart himself? As she said this, she approached her tall person in ample garments so near to the window that I was obliged to bend back almost to the breaking of my spine. In her eagerness, she did not observe me at first, but when she did, she curled her lip and moved to another casement. The post-chaise stopped. The driver rang the doorbell, and a gentleman alighted attired on the traveling garb. But it was not Mr. Rochester. It was a tall, fashionable-looking man. A stranger! Oh, how provoking! Exclaimed Miss Ingram. "You tiresome monkey," surprising Adele, "who perched you up in the window to give false intelligence." And she cast on me an angry glance as if I were at fault. Some parleying was audible in the hall, and soon the newcomer entered. He bowed to Lady Ingram, as deeming her the eldest lady present. "It appears I have come at an inopportune time, madam," said he, "when my friend Mr. Rochester is from home. But I arrive from a very long journey, and I think I may presume so far on old and intimate acquaintance as the install myself until he returns. His manner was polite. His accent, in speaking, struck me as being somewhat unusual, not precisely foreign, but still not altogether English. His age might be about Mr. Rochester's, between 30 and 40. His complexion was singularly sallow. Well, how was his forehead? What's his nose like? And how's his lips? Otherwise, he was a fine-looking man. Go on, describe his forehead and lips. At first, slightly especially, on a closer examination, you detected something in his face. Oh, would that face hold a giant forehead, nose, and lips? That displeased, or rather, that failed to please. His features, here we go, were regular, but too relaxed. His eye was large and well cut. It was one eye. But the life looking out of it was tame, vacant life. At least I thought so. The sound of the dressing bell dispersed the party, and it was not till after dinner that I saw him again. Then he seemed quite at his ease. But I liked his physiognomy, even less than before. It struck me as being at the same time unsettled and inanimate. His eye, does he have just one eye, wandered, and he had no meaning in his wandering. This gave him an odd look, such as I never remembered him to have seen. What's that? No, I don't know if he's attractive or not. We're going to find out, hopefully. She takes kind of a while to tell you if someone's attractive or not. For a handsome and not unamiable-looking man, he repelled me exceedingly. There was no power in that smooth-skinned face of a full oval shape, no firmness in that aquiline nose. Here we go. He's got a long, thin nose and small cherry mouth. Here we go. Full lips, little red lips. Oh, there was no thought on how low. Oh, on the low, even forehead. Oh. That's why she's disgusted with him. He's just got a normal forehead, but a long nose and little full lips, so that's nice. No command in that blank brown eye. As I sat in my usual nook and looked at him with the light of the grinolds. What's that? You don't know what that is? You don't know what a grinold is? I'm not going to tell you. On the mantelpiece, beaming full over him, for the occupied an armchair drawn close to the fire, and he kept shrinking still near, as if he were cold. And I compared him with Mr. Rochester, I think with deference, be it spoken, and contrast could not be much greater, well, it's the forehead, between a sleek gander and a fierce falcon. Really? Between a meek sheep and a rough-coated, keen-eyed dog, its guardian. He had spoken of Mr. Rochester as an old friend. A curious friendship theirs may have been, a pointed illustration, indeed, of the old adage that extremes meet. Oh, 2 or 3 of the gentlemen sat near him, and I caught him at times scraps of their conversation across the room. At first I could not make much sense of what I heard, for the discourse of Louisa, Ashton, and Mary Ingram, who sat near me, confused the fragmentary sentences that reached me from the intervals. These last were discussing the stranger, though they both called him a beautiful man, in quotes. Louisa said he was a love of a creature, and she, quote, adored him, and Mary instanced his, quote, pretty little mouth and nice nose. He's got a mouth, a tiny little red mouth, real small, and a big long nose, and then like a forehead that's just not big enough, as her ideal of the charming. Oh, what a sweet-tempered forehead he has, cried Louisa. Oh, she's not used to a normal forehead. So smooth. None of those frowning irregularities I dislike so much. It's such a placid eye. Does he just have one eye? I just want to know for sure if he just only has one eye. The other one's like covered in eye patch or just grown over by skin. And a smile. And then, to my great relief, Mr. Henry Lynn summoned them to the other side of the room to settle some point about the deferred excursion of the Hay Common. I was now able to concentrate my attention on the group by the fire, and I presently gathered that the newcomer was called Mr. Mason. And then I learned that he was just arrived in England, and that he had come from some hot country, which is the reason, doubtless, his face so sallow, and he sat so near to the hearth, and wore a shirt out. What? No, I'm not going to tell you what that is. I know what it is. I'm going to tell you what that is. In the house. Presently the words Jamaica, Kingston, Spanish Town, indicated the West Indies at his residence, and it was with no little surprise that I gathered ere long that he had there first seen and become acquainted with Mr. Rochester. He spoke of his friend's dislike of the burning heats, the hurricanes, the rainy seasons of that region, and I knew that Mr. Rochester had been a traveler. Mrs. Fairfax had said so, but I thought the continent of Europe had bounded his wanderings. Until now I had never heard a hint given of visits to more distant shores. I was, pondering these things, when an incident, and a somewhat unexpected one, broke the thread of my music. Mr. Mason, shivering as someone chanced to open the door, asked for more coal to be put on the fire, which had burnt out its flame. Though its mass of cinder still shone hot and red, the footman who brought the coal, is going out, stopped near Mr. Eshton's chair and said something to him in a low voice of which I heard only the words, "Old woman, M. quite troublesome. Tell her she shall put in the stocks if she does not take herself off," replied the magistrate. "No, stop," interrupted Colonel Dent. "Don't send her away, Eshton. We might turn the thing to account. Better consult the ladies." And speaking aloud, he continued, "Ladies, you talked of going to Hay Common to visit the Romani camp. Sam here says that one of the old mother bunches is in the servants' hall at this moment and insists upon being brought in before, quote, the quality to tell them their fortunes. Would you like to see her?" "Surely, Colonel," cried Lady Ingram. "Would you not encourage such low impostor? Dismiss her, by all means at once." "But I cannot persuade her to go away, my lady," said the footman, "nor can any of the servants. Miss Fairfax is with her just now, entreating her to be gone. But she has taken a chair in the chimney corner, and says nothing shall stir from her until she gets to leave to come in here." What does she want?" asked Miss Eshton. "To tell the gentry their fortunes, she says, ma'am, and she swears she must and will do it." "Well, what is she like?" inquired Miss Eshton in a breath. "A shockingly ugly old creature, miss, almost as black as a crock." She's a real sorceress," cried Frederick Lynn. "Let us have her in, of course, to be sure," rejoined the brother. "It would be 1,000 pities to throw away such a chance of fun." "My dear boys, what are you thinking about?" exclaimed Miss Lynn. "I cannot possibly countenance any such inconsistent proceedings," chimed in Dowager Ingram. "Indeed, mamma, but can you and you will pronounce the haughty voice of Blanche as she turned around on the piano stool, where still now she sat silent, apparently examining sundry sheets of music. "I shall have a curiosity to hear my fortune told. Therefore, Sam, order the beldam forward." "Beldam. The beldam, what's that?" "Oh, you don't know how to pronounce it? I'm not going to pronounce it for you." "My darling Blanche, recollect." "I do. I recollect all you can suggest, and I must and have my will." "Quick, Sam." "Yes, yes, yes," cried all the juveniles, both ladies and gentlemen. "Let her come. It'll be excellent sport." There was a whole page dedicated to just them talking about, should we bring her in? Yes, let's do it. The footman still lingered. "She looks like such a rough one," said he. "Go!" ejaculated Miss Ingram, and the man went. Excitement instantly seized the whole party. A running fire of raillery and jest was proceeding when Sam returned. "Well, she won't come now," said he. "She says it's not her mission to appear before a vulgar herd. Them's her words. I must show her into a room by herself, and then those who wish to consult her must go one by one." "Oh, sweet, the cat's back. Are you going to make sausages? Huh? Are you going to, I see you brought a griddle. You're going to make it right here in front of us? Awesome. I can't wait. All right. I can't wait to have sausages. This is going to be awesome." Well, while we wait for those morning snausages, a fun little joke I could tell, to get made, why don't we read the rest of this chapter? "You see now, my queenly Blanche," began Lady Ingram, "she encroaches. Be advised, my angel girl, and show her to the library." Of course, cut in the angel girl, in quotes. "It is not my mission to listen to her before the vulgar herd either. I mean to have her all to myself. Is there a fire in the library?" "Yes, ma'am, but she looks such a tinkler." What does that mean? Cease that chatter, blockhead, and do my bidding. Again, Sam vanished, and mystery, animation, expectation rose to a full flow once more. Well, she's ready now, said the footman as she reappeared. Oh, yeah, she wishes to know who will be her first visitor. I think I had better just look upon her before any of the ladies go, said Colonel Dent. Tell her, Sam, a gentleman is coming. Sam went and returned. She says, sir, that she'll have no gentlemen. They need not trouble themselves to come near her, nor, and he added with difficulty suppressing the titter, any ladies either. Burp, except the young and single. By Jove, she has taste, exclaimed Henry Lynn. Miss Ingram rose solemnly. I go first, she said, in a tone which might be befitted a leader of a forlorn hope, mounting a breach in the vein of his men. Oh, my best, oh, my dearest, pause, reflect, was her mamma's cry, but she swept past her in stately... I could smell that. That smells delicious. In stately silence, passed through the door which Colonel Dent had opened, and we heard her enter the library. A comparative silence ensued. Lady Ingram thought it l'efficace to wring her hands, which she did accordingly. Miss Mary declared she felt, for her part, that she never dared venture. Amy and Louisa Eshton tittered under their breath and looked, a little frightened. That does smell delicious. The minutes passed very slowly. 15 were counted before the library door again opened. Miss Ingram returned to us through the arch. Would she laugh? Would she take it as a joke? All eyes met her with a glance of eager curiosity, and she met all eyes with one of rebuff and coldness. Now she looked neither flurried nor merry. She walked stiffly to her seat and took it in silence. Oh, what the hell's that? Is that the fire alarm? Well, I guess a lot of smoke coming up from those beautiful snausages. I'm not going to worry about it. We'll get the grease and the smoke out later. Well, just keep reading. Well, Blanche, said Lord Ingram. What did she say, sister? Asked Mary. What do you think? How do you feel? She's a real fortune teller? Demanded Mrs. Eshton. Now, good people, returned Miss Ingram. Don't press upon me. Really, your origins of wonder and credulity are easily excited. You seem, by the importance of you all, my good mamma included, ascribe to this matter absolutely to believe we have a genuine witch in the house, who is in close alliance with the old gentleman. I have seen a Romane vagabond, and she has practiced in hackneyed fashion the science of palmistry and told me what such people usually tell. My whim is gratified, and now I think Mr. Eshton will do well to put the hag in the stocks tomorrow morning, as he threatened. Miss Ingram took a book, leant back in her chair. I can't wait for those snausages. Yeah, it's a fun little, it's cute. And so declined further conversation. I watched her for nearly half an hour. Man, it's getting louder in here. During all that time, she never turned a page, and her face grew momentarily darker and more dissatisfied and more sourly expressive of disappointment. She had obviously not heard anything to her advantage, and it seemed to me, from her prolonged fit of gloom and taciturnity, what's that? You know what that word means? All right, I'll tell you what it means. There is no definition for it. That she herself, notwithstanding her professed indifference, attached undue importance, it's getting hot, to whatever revelations have been made her. Meantime, Mary Ingram, Amy, Louisa Eshton declared that they did not dare go alone, and yet they all wished to go. A negotiation was opened through the medium of the ambassador, Sam, and much after pacing to and fro, till I think said that Sam's calves must have ached with the exercise. Permission was at last, with great difficulty, extorted for the religious Sibyl, for the three wait upon her in a body. It's just kind of loud in here. Their visit was not so still as Miss Ingram's had been. We heard hysterical giggling and little shrieks proceeding from the library, and at the end of about 20 minutes, they burst the door open and came running across the hall as if they were half scared out of their wits. I'm sure she is something not right, they cried, one and all. She told us such things. She knows all about us. And they sank breathless into the very seats, and the gentleman hastened to bring them. Pressed for further explanation, they declared that she had told them of things that... God... let's get warm and loud. And she told them of things that she had said when they were children. Described books and ornaments that they had their boudoirs at home, keepsakes and different relations that had presented them, and they affirmed that they had even divined their thoughts when they had whispered in their ear each name of the person she liked best in the world. They informed them of what they most wished for. Here the gentleman interposed with earnest petitions to be further enlightened on those... It's, a little smoky in here. My snausages are causing a lot of smoke. Here the gentleman interposed with earnest petitions to be further enlightened on these two last named points, but they got only blushes, ejaculations, tremors, and titters. In return for their importunity, the matrons, meantime, offered vinaigrettes and wielded fans again and again. I want to get out of here. It's getting really warm and loud and smoky. The sausages... I still want them, but this is a lot of work for some sausages. Laughed, and the younger... why don't we just end the chapter here? Why don't we go down to the smoking room and review what the hell we just read? Well, apparently the house is on fire, I guess, so we probably shouldn't stay here very long. I wouldn't recommend taking any snuff or cigarettes from the baboon's skull that I keep there on the coffee table. I read the rest of it, so you didn't have to. Basically, Jane is being called in. The Romane woman says, I'm not going to leave until this young girl comes in and I can read her fortune. And then that's pretty much it. That's the end of the chapter. So she goes in, like, okay, I'll go. And so she goes in. And then, oh, Lord, it's getting worse. We should probably release the birds. Yeah, we should probably release the birds. But anyways, that's pretty much it. Basically, she was at a party. She witnessed her Mr. Rochester with his giant forehead and his long skinny nose and his pouty lips be hit on by a woman who's vacuous and vacant and insipid and churlish. And she's like, oh, yeah, if he loves her, then whatever, I guess maybe she's better than me. And then this weird stranger comes in who looks just like him with the long skinny nose, like the horse face, and the weird little lips at the bottom, is kind of like constantly just kissing, just making kissing sounds on the air with his tiny little red lips. And then the thing about him is he's got a normal forehead. And oh my God, all these ladies are totally obsessed with this normal forehead. That's pretty much it. Then the Romana lady comes in, tells fortunes, scares everyone, and now Jane's going to go in. So next chapter, I guess we have to hear her fortune, which she probably marries Mr. Rochester. My Kobo says that I have 14 hours left in the book. So this is going to go on forever. But we should probably get out of here. It's just getting hot downstairs here in the smoking room. And there's a lot of flammable stuff in the smoking room, so we should probably get going. Help me get these birds out of here. Well, it appears you found me in the part of the podcast I hate the most, where I tell you all about the places on the internet where you can find me. You can tell I hate this because of the sound effects making it sound like a stormy night in the drawing room of the damned. Now, there's that. Are you cool? I like cool people. That's the reason why I got involved in this business to begin with, just to meet cool people, not losers. So if you're cool, feel free to go over to my website, nuzzlehouse.com. That's where you can find pretty much everything we've ever done. Like Gestating the Curious Mind, where my wife and I make paranormal smut. Masterpiece Auditoria, where my wife and I review horrible literature. And Two Books, One Cup, a sometimes D&D podcast, sometimes debate show podcast, with friends like Ben from Words About Books, and Elton from Elton Reads a Book a Week. We also have a Patreon that's been under construction forever, so you can give us money to pay our bills. And since I think you might be cool, you can always just email me directly. glenn.nuzzles@gmail.com. But don't email if you're a nerdlinger or a dork. Now, back to business. I can't believe I drank all of them already. There's one left.